Alright, hello and welcome to part 2 of the Weakside William Masterclass of York Jungle. Today's lesson plan is going to be based on how one should understand how to successfully deal with what is in the title, how to carry your weight. Specifically, how to deal with useless laners, how to deal with 1v9 scenarios, and how to win what is a part of today's material, both people who are not playing the game, as well as 4v5 scenarios that should look and seem unwinnable. The fact of the matter is, in League of Legends, as well as any multiplayer game, whenever you have to depend on another person in order to be able to successfully get anything done, you're always going to be at the mercy of that person and how they choose to cooperate. Just like in building any kind of commune and repertoire in a video game, the skill of dealing with people is a skill and talent that you must achieve. However, you are not going to be able to win against every single person, and you're not going to win every scenario against these kinds of people. Some players are stubborn. Some people are stubborn. And as I've stated many times on record, and will do here again for this content, I am of the full belief that there are people that play games the way that they manage things in their lives. They do not care. They do not understand. They do not want to understand, because having understanding would make the problem worse. And they would still vindicate themselves by saying the justification for their action is acceptable because they don't like the person in the scenario. So fuck them. When playing online video games, especially that of League of Legends, anything and everything will be used against you to justify a person's hatred. It doesn't matter if they had a bad day. It doesn't matter if they had an outburst. It doesn't matter what you said to them in chat select. It doesn't matter what happened in the match. There are some players that have mental as thin as a breadcrumb. They will snap, and they will throw their tantrum, and they will make you lose because they don't like you. Very, very often in jungle, this is the case, because your job is to be at the mercy of every single thing that's happening while you're fighting other people and fighting other players. Therefore, it is your focus to be able to manage how you're going to handle this existent issue whenever it comes through. For this, I have 2 games prepared, recently played yesterday. Yes, yesterday, that demonstrate this exact mentality. The simplicity of it is that it shows you probably some of the worst danger scenarios that you can be able to manage when dealing with a match of League of Legends, namely a deadweight laner, namely a mainline solo laner who's running it down, and a game where a player decides to rage quit because they both, one, wanted to flame me and were not allowed the excuse to do so, and then chose to rage quit the game, not because they had DC issues, but because they specifically wanted to force a 4v5. They wanted us to forfeit so they could run to the next game and go next. Very rarely are you ever going to win matches like these. I would say 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a hard loss. And the reason why is because they will absolutely do everything in their power to fuck you over. I've had players take my camps. I've had players take my buffs. I've had players refuse to move or refuse to communicate. I've had players do any and everything possible to be as much dead weight as they can be. But even with players acting like dead weight, it is possible to not lose anywhere from 15 minutes to 43 to 30 minutes of your life. Before I get started, is there any person in particular in the audience that is hearing my voice right now that has any questions, comments, or concerns that they'd like to be able to have addressed before I get into the course material? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Going once, going twice, going thrice, fried rice, entice, suffice, dead mice, of men. Okay, let's begin. starting at the top of the round, as you load in to Champion Select, and as you load in through this. I don't remember exactly what happened in this match. I don't believe I spoke to a single person on this team. But in this match, we will see the demonstration of what it looks like when you have a useless mid laner. Realistically, useless laners are going to happen all the time. You're going to have bad bottom lanes, you're going to have bad supports, you're going to have bad jungles, you're going to have bad tops, and you're going to have bad team cohesion in general, and sometimes extremely bad drafts. Because this is a quick match, we're seeing a counter draft of two Dariuses fighting against each other in the top lane. The matchup is the Jungle Kha'Zix running Dark Harvest versus my Phase Rush with a Vayne Morgana into a Lucian Malphite. I could tell you, based on how this game goes, with the mid lane Akali versus the Veigar, he is going to hard feed his ass off. And I'm going to be followed around the jungle by this Kha'Zix. Same start as I always do in each match. I see the map, I call, I need vision. Bottom lane decides to go roam by themselves deep into the enemy vision. The mid laner dies, and they waste their sums. Often, this is going to happen because players do not actually understand how to properly invade. Looking at the invasion call, you can see the reason here demonstrated very clearly why I call for the vision the way that I do. Calling for vision here on the map, at the eye brush, at the crossing roads, and here around the area of the three camps of the bottom enemy quadrant. They are waiting to fight anyone who comes through these ways. Because it's Morgana is able to bind and peel for her backline. And they int a kill on the mid lane over to Vayne, thus giving her a lead and costing both Lucian his flash, because he thought he could kill her and got bounded straight to the face, and costing bottom lane both their subs. Realistically, this now means they should be able to crush them in lane because they have summoner advantage. However, the fact of the matter is, he's been killed, and he's also wasted one of his potions. He started with Doran's Ring 2. Doran's Ring, 2 health pots. He is now fighting from a position where he has less HP to deal with the assassin, who has a similar start, Doran's Ring's 2 pots. So, he's missing 120 health times 2 that he can be able to use in trades to fight her. Granted, he is a teleport user, but this player is absolutely fucking brain dead.
Minions have spawned.
Moving from this situation, the start and clear is the same. But we're not going to focus on what I'm doing this game. We're going to focus on what happens in this lane versus this Veigar. Veigar tries to start the lane with normal farm. Currently at this point they're even, but he walks up to get hit by a Q. Then he lets himself get hit by a repeat kunai, and then another Q. He takes an electrocute for this. He does not know how to farm. He's setting up auto attacks to try and get Qs on minions, but he puts himself in range to potentially get hit by Qs. Fails the auto attack to drop the farm, and is walking unusually back in a way that doesn't make sense. Akali, knowing that this person very clearly doesn't understand how he could be pressuring her, is fishing out to see how he's going to behave on these waves. Because he's mismanaging everything he's using, and is trying to put all this focus into everything he can, he puts himself in a position to take a very hard trade. And then, after the wall falls, she flashes the tower, and then walks back into the tower again. Realistically, what Veigar should have done here, immediately after doing this, is get those last stacks, and then hard shove this wave. He drops the cannon, and because he's taken all this extra time, he is now being zoned out and fished by the jungler. He goes for the hard invade. And because it's scratched on the tower, he selfishly drops his wall and has no choice but to walk into the Akali, thus giving a kill. There is no reason why he should have still have been there several seconds past when he killed her. She even was late on the rain rotation. He had a lead, but because he already entered a kill to the lane once in bottom, he has now entered a kill to the lane again in his lane, and worse, to his opponent. There's no reason for this to happen. Why did it happen? Because he doesn't know what he's doing. Because he doesn't know what he's doing, and he doesn't know how to ask for help. He finds himself in a position where he has no ability to counteract what's happening. Meanwhile, I'm in my jungle, clearing as usual, taking up all the things that are available, because I took his top quadrant. This means that I handshake the map, and I continue clearing as normal. Ligar respawns, and he runs towards mid. Akali is shoving the wave into the tower, and she has nowhere else to go. He returns to the wave, is dropping CS, it is what it is, and is getting CS hits on her. I face off against him on the side, and I block him out. He tries to call for people to help him, because he's trying to get back in on this. I smite the camp to prevent him from getting the grab, since he has nothing else left to do, and I am more importantly focused on this. But here comes over the Vigar, trying to, quote, help. He does not understand that he's not allowed to walk up here, gets himself chunked, gets himself chunked again. And even though he's in a pushing position, he is not able to apply pressure on this wave, despite being a level above her. Instead of fishing for Qs or fishing for Ws, he just lets her thin the wave in front of him. He hits a Q on her. He allows her to walk up on the wave. She misses her Q&I. And he continues to shove. Now they're equal level, but he still has level lead on top of her. As he spikes level 6 here, what he should be doing is looking to kill as many minions as possible so that he can be able to get level 6 on top of her. Now he has level 6, but he's not going for his kill. The jungler walks through the lane. He should have immediately walled, caged, and killed that Vigar. But he did not. Now, we have a roaming situation from the top laner. I'm being chased around by the laner for no other reason because he wants to chase me around. I didn't even realize that there were wards here in this brush. But he has warded double brush on dry and singular, and he is chasing me around the map for reasons I don't understand. The jungler has decided to put a transitional ward inside of my transition camp between my blast plant, but has absolutely no idea that I'm not here with any camps for him to steal. In fact, he blasts over the wall in such a position that he misses the opportunity to take my wolves. So, he backs on this, which now gives me pressure over the objective, because I can throw this over the wall, and without him being able to do anything to find me, he returns to the top lane. But oh no, Vigar's died in mid. Let's look at how he died. He had kill opportunity on her because he had a level 6 spike, but he chose not to look for his lead. Instead of playing conservatively and making use of his teleport to simply go back, he allows himself to get into execution range, does not drop his full combo, and dies. I pinged the fact that he should have teleported. He responds. He teleports, not quickly enough. Akali walks over to this objective to try and fight me for reasons I don't understand. And then he finally executes her. But now he's in a situation where he's about to get pulled and killed and give another kill again. He flashes out this time, and I fix his wave for him. And I continue on my merry fucking way. They're still fighting in the top side here, but they are able to kill the jungler. So far in this position, they are now trying to steal jungle camps away, which then leads to Akali being given an opportunity to chase. He walls her off, but look at how long he stayed out on that map. Now, he now has no gold, he now has no resources. He is sitting on 1,500 gold. What she has spent, he has not. And even though he technically should be stronger than her, he now has a wave that is bouncing off tower that he needs to back for so he can be able to play the game. This player does not realize how he should be playing the match. And because he does not understand what he's supposed to be doing, he's found himself in a position where he's not able to actually make an advantage play against his target. Both players might get away with their lives, but they are now behind significantly. Because now, this gives him advantage to start thinning his wave. And, even as I try to arrive in a position where I can be able to get around and deal with his Vayne, we are not in a position where we are capable of doing much. And, as you can see, Vayne is mad as fuck because she is forced to use all her sums again, and she's blaming the jungler for being outgapped, because he is. Despite all of this, look at the lead that's being generated in the middle. Veigar finally returns to the lane after having bought. Let's talk about the mistakes that he's made here. Veigar bought Hextech Alternator versus Hextech Alternator. This is stupid. Carl, why is this stupid? For one, even with the movement advantage of penetration with Sorcerer's Sues, he is dealing with a champion that is going to chunk him and kill him. He needs HP. He needs HP. He should be building Rod of Aegis. Because if he builds Rod of Aegis, he'll have more mana, he'll have more health, and he'll be able to survive for longer, because he's a scaling pick. And even then, he shouldn't be buying Hextech Alternator, because Hextech Alternator is not going to be something that rewards him for the type of damage he wants to do. He wants to have something that's going to recidivistically give him more damage against the target. What he should have bought was a Lost Chapter item. He should have bought Luden's Companion. He did not, and so now he's in a position where she has advantage over him, because on a damage race, she will do more damage against him and execute him based on missing health. She has the advantage with move speed. She has the advantage with poke damage. She has the advantage to catch up. She has the energy advantage to continue spamming her spells. And she has the advantage to be able to recast onto him to ensure that she can stick the kill. All of this works in her advantage, because she wants exactly what he has. Penetration boots and Hextech Alternator. He should not be matching her items, since he's already behind and his gold matters more. He had more than enough gold to be able to buy the Last Chapter. The fact that he didn't buy it, and he also didn't buy anything for health, means that he's going to get killed again. Wastes his wall. Starts walking up to an assassin without your defensive ability that she knows is down. Takes a hard trade. Now he's in a position where he has no sums whatsoever. And he is relying on someone to bail him out. Because he thinks that he can be a poke game against her. And she's not going to let it happen. Ignite dead. Exactly why. Ignite dead. 2 combos. That's all it took to kill you. All it took to kill you was 2 combos. Why? Because you don't have health! We are a control mage as Veigar. We are an infinitely scaling control mage. Let's go back and see the kit. Phenomenal Evil Power. Grant a stack of AP every time I hit a target. Takedowns on champions add 5 stacks. This is raw power. You don't need Hextech Alternator. Baleful Strike. Stack Phenomenal Evil when you hit. Get 3 stacks on large minions and large monsters. Dark Matter. Be able to lower the ability cooldown for every 50 stacks by 10%. Event Horizon. Stun targets for 1.5 seconds, but if you look at this timer, Event Horizon will increase its stun duration and lower its cooldown on level. At minimal, you want this at level 3. Granted, he has not gotten to the point where he can start maxing it yet, because he is not level 8 into the level 9 into level 10, 11, 12, and 13. But he should have put 2 points, maybe 3 points into this. Either way things go. Why is he walking off his tower when he knows he doesn't have a reason to be walking up? She cannot dive you and kill you if you sit next to your tower. If you play length on the wave, she will simply use her ultimate. She will shun poke directly to your head. That's not what it's called. It's called Perfect Execution. But she has 3 dashes, essentially. One requires her to be able to hit you at Shuriken Flip. The other 2 are executed off of Perfect Execution by vaulting over you. and dealing damage in the path, and then recasting it after 2.5 seconds to thrust forward and deal damage to targets based on missing health. But she used this with Ignite to be able to stick the kill by getting maximum distance on him, because he did not have the ability to target her, because when she is in the form of Twilight Shroud, she is in a form of perfect invisibility. And unfortunately, Primordial Burst requires viewing of the target. Even though the reason he bought this is so that he could get that damage rate on her, it has a cooldown of 40 seconds when it's revved, which means this extra 65 damage is not coming through for a Primordial Burst, and you're not guaranteed to land this damage before she blows you up if she is not stunned. And even if she is stunned, she's stunned invisible. You need to be putting points, putting focus into shoving the wave and layering the positions that you're going to fight her from with Dark Matter and poking her out with Baleful Strike. So she doesn't have the ability to do this to you. Because you didn't do this, you get executed. Because you take a bad trade at tower line, you get fucked, she dashes at you, she ignites and autos. And you're done. There's no reason why you should be in this position, because you should have reset multiple times earlier when you had the advantage. You already got a free kill off of her in lane. She dove the tower, died, walked back then, and got tapped. You had a free time to shove, you had free time to push, and the only reason you died is because you overstayed and got ganked by the jungler. And because you're so weak, and you're constantly doing what you're doing, and worse, because this guy's so fucking bad, I have to now cover my own camps, because the consequence of having a bad mid laner is that your entire middle section of the map is open. If my bottom lane falls over, my bottom quadrant is exposed, but not my top. If my top falls over, my top quadrant is exposed, but not my bottom. If my mid laner falls over, my top quadrant and my bottom quadrant remain uncovered, because the lane assigned person whose job it is to defend the tower is dead, constantly, on cooldown. And because you're dead on cooldown, he can walk in uncontested. This is what losing the game looks like. It's 15.1 to 15.2. The gold delta hasn't even settled above 100 gold yet, because I'm farming more than he is. I'm technically sitting on 1827 to his 708. 2583 versus 302. I'm not buying extra components. I want a completed item. I'm sitting on Phage, which is 200 HP and 15 damage, with move speed on top of it, versus his serrated dark for lethality. If he finds me alone in the jungle, and I ever am in a bad position to fight, I could be killed. But unfortunately, I'm Yorick at level 7. I have a maiden, and I have children. And my children and I are farming. I don't want to have interaction with the lanes. I want to be able to scale. Because if we scale from mid lane and from jungle, we will automatically win. Because they will not be able to brute force us anymore. Because they'll have to dive through me, they'll have to dive through our Darius, they'll have to dive through our Malphite, and when they're trying to dive through us, there is a Lucian who is peppering them, and there is a Veigar who is blowing them up from the mid lane distance. Because Veigar is one of the best fucking battle mages in the game. He is one of the best control mages, period. Simply because of his wall. Veigar wall means you do not enter this area or you are stunned. And if you're caught in the middle, you better hope you have a move to teleport out. Because if you can't, you're just going to be stunned when you hit that wall duration. Many picks exist that allow you to combo this in such a way where, oh, we put the wall down, but I pushed you into the wall, so now you're permanently stunned. And now you have to cross that much more distance after you're unstunned and you're CC locked to be able to survive. Because he dies here, he's giving her the ability to have more of a lead. Because now, he's going to lose all his gold that's going to be shoved into his tower if I don't take it. And he's giving the jungler an opportunity to farm my camps. Which is why immediately when I see him, I'm saying, ping, 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 this motherfucker's where he's not supposed to be. And because my support's bottom, married to his bottom laner, because he kind of has to be in this situation, he can't roam here. It's not the job of the mid laner to have the support roam and win his lane for him, because he's supposed to be able to fight her. He's supposed to be able to fight and win against her, period. But he's not, because he's not landing any combo that he needs to with his Electrocute, and she is. Which is why Electrocute is bad on Veigar, when you're using against targets that have the ability to avoid you. You would much rather want to use Summon Airy or Comet. works better. That or Dark Harvest, but that requires stacking and scaling. With all these things being equal, I now have to recognize my mid laner is useless. And if I don't defend my camps, I'm going to be trailing behind this jungler all game long. Because I am, as you can clearly see by Gustwalker's stacks, I am gapping this man. I've taken how many of his camps? Starting with his camp rotation on the first clear. And he's been that far behind me. I'm a level ahead of him. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm a level and a half. No, I'm a level and 3/4. So I'm about to be 2 levels on top of him. I don't want to lose that XP lead. XP and levels are power. Next level I get for Dark Possession, I get the ability to make a wall that has 3 points of HP, which means that when he gets trapped, he's not going to be able to run from me anymore. Then when he gets to max level, it's going to be 4. Putting my points into E means my Morning Mist is going to give me that extra current health damage against him for his magic. So even though he's building lethality, I'm building something that's going to basically make him weaker towards me for his armor. And if he tries to build any MR to resist what I will build next, then he'll still be fucked. Regardless, all of this because the mid laner cannot fucking perform. So, I naturally need to get in position to defend my camps. I have to block him out. Wall, move, place the maiden in such a way where Kali wants to walk over to defend him, but if she tries to go forward, she will die. And then continue clearing. Back to the lane. He chases her out again and is able to kill her again. Look who is immediately roaming. Into my jungle again. Doesn't find the Gromp. Walks back out. I tell him, I need you to start moving. Because I want to make sure this top laner does not do anything, because I know he's in his bottom quadrant. Because there's nothing available here to take. I had to cross from my Gromp over to my Raptors in order to defend them. If he had gone in a little bit deeper, he would have gotten the Wolf Camp, but I wouldn't have cared, because the Wolf Camp and the 90 gold that it would have provided him versus the correct camp that he's currently taking, which is going to be about, what, 100 to 120 gold? This objective is about to give us more gold on top of that, as well as 6 scrubs for us to be able to fight with. Realistically, this gives Vigar an opportunity to get some free stacks in. And then we walk together back to his lane to defend his tower. She tries to push her damage out. I wall her off. In comes this jungler to fight me. But because he didn't back on time, I'm going to die here to his laner, who randomly has Storm Surge for reasons. Fortunately, my support comes in with the cleanup, because he's playing AP Malphite and has the correct item he should have had. This is the item that he should have bought in mid. Lost Chapter. 40 AP, 300 mana, 10 ability haste. Upon leveling up, restore 20% max mana over 3 seconds. Let's throw it to you, chat. Debate to yourselves. Which one is better for Vigar? The Hextech Alternator or the Lost Chapter? Granted, it's not all bad. She's chosen to build Storm Surge, which means she's going to be a very dangerous target to fight, and it's going to reward her with gold. Reset, back on the map. I call her sums, both her ignite and her flash. And I immediately make my way down to the bottom side. Meanwhile, in middle lane, let's talk about lane states real quick. This lane is receiving into the tower and is now bouncing back. It's a push and pull. Wave goes in, wave comes out. Wave meets as close as it can, and whichever wave has power and assertion over the other has domineering force. Because our minions are 1 level stronger than their minions, our minions are going to receive in such a way where now that it has hit the tower, it is going to supplant and reinforce faster because the wave is meeting past the line of attrition, which is the middle section point of the river, and will now bounce from the tower. Because he is this far up the lane, he is shoving the wave back towards her. And worst of all, look at the mistake he's done. He's put points into dark matter instead of putting points into Event Horizon. So, even if he does land this, he's not going to have cooldown on this ability for longer. Maybe you could argue that Carl, he didn't do it and didn't buy the item at first because he didn't think it was important. He wants to put damage over everything. But you see, this is why he's dying. If he had his wall sooner, and he lasted to stun for longer, he would be more useful. Because he would never be in these situations where he has to think as hard as he does. It could be as simple as I poke with Baleful Strike, I throw out Dark Matter to hit her when she's trying to do extra shit, and I block the path that she has to avoid my Dark Matter with Event Horizon. If it works out, she gets hit by one or both of these abilities, and I poke her down slowly. Instead, he's walking into her line of attrition, and he's giving her all the time in the world to kill him. She's not pressured to do this because, at the same time, because you're pushing the wave back towards her, again, by killing it too quickly, she's not forced to lock up the last hits. Which means she's able to place vision. Now she has ward over the wall to know that I'm not coming from the top quadrant. And, because I'm showing on vision down here, to clear this vision, she now knows that I'm on the bottom quadrant, and I'm being chased by the jungler. Now, I'm going to make her make a choice. They come to attack me here. He walks the wall. She gets stunned on the wall. And dies. I planned that. Because I'm going to make them make a choice. You want to follow me around the map? Okay, I'm going to take this can right in front of your face. Do something. He says, I'm going to sit in this brush and I'm going to wait. She says, I'm going to come up to the side and I'm going to sneak attack you. This is something that you shouldn't do, but I'm ahead of him. I have an item on him, and I have defense against her on her. I got tenacity, I've got magic resist, I've got move speed. She's got damage, but I have something to counter her magic penetration. So, this 15 plus 10 is 25 magic pen. If I didn't have this extra magic resist, she'd be dealing 25 more points of magic damage against me to basically penetrate through me. Looking at my number, you can clearly see that based on the magic resist that I have, I'm taking 40 reduced magic damage. Compare this to what Veigar has on him, where he's taking 29 reduced magic damage. This pen is basically going to waste on her, because she can't get through to do damage to me. Because I have to not only defend against his DPS from his opportunity, which is currently down, but also the same concept for lethality works in the opposite direction, for armor. I technically would take more damage from him than her, so both of them attacking me constantly would be a threat. But this is to bait her to use her spells in such a position where she's not able to fight. Because I use my wall in this way, he's forced to jump in. He tries to do his damage. They both get targeted in such a way that then sets her up to die. And now, since he's used his jump, he is forced to have to answer in a particular way. And by doing this, even though he dies, we kill, and I now have the focus and power to take the top objective. Because he cannot match me. He's too far behind. He has to focus on farming. He's 15 stacks of Gosswalker. I'm 1. And with that extra stack, I take this, and I come all the way over here, and I fight for the lane. And because I'm stronger than her, because I have Mercury Treads, let's play that playback again, she no longer has the ability to fight me anymore. She knows that I'm here because she sees me on the ward. So, she thinks, yeah, I'm gonna fight you. I wall her in, I hit her with dust. Notice that as this is happening, she's still getting her shit pushed in, because I'm hitting her with the dust, and the minions are telling me where she is. She's taking tick damage from the Maiden, which is currently sucking her with its auto attacks and its power. On top of the fact that she's getting sucked out by the Maiden, I'm targeting myself. On top of that damage that she's taking from the Maiden hitting her with the magic that she's currently channeling for, every time I damage her alongside the Maiden, she's taking 2% max health damage. She's taking physical from my goals and myself, and she's taking magical from a combination of what I'm doing with the Maiden, as well as a combination of what I'm doing with my abilities. And because she's getting hit with Morning Mist, and the ghouls can see her, she cannot use her stealth to be able to avoid me, because I'm able to figure out where she is in the mist, because of where the minions are currently auto-attacking. She gets hit by the tower shot, and even if I hadn't gotten that last tick of damage, she would have been dead. Now, I take up all this extra gold, and I have even more time to play for. Granted, I lose my ghouls to the wave, but that doesn't matter. 23.5 to 24.6. Another 15k in my pocket. I'm significantly ahead of this jungler, and now I'm significantly crushing this middle. Granted, the mids are still close to each other within 500 gold. 54.65 is not a very big lead over 51.05. But what matters is that I've killed her, and now he's respawned and will have time to farm something, if anything. Granted, he has been useful, and worse, he had a more than enough power to be able to finish the items that he should have finished. But now he's finished his Luden's Companion. Now he has, because he built the incorrect portion of it first. He built the alternator portion instead of building the Lost Chapter portion first. So now that he has his Luden's Companion, and he has the ability power and the mana and the ability haste, he can now start going into tankier items. He instead chooses to buy raw power. With this lead, I take the Scuttle Crab, simply because I believe that he thinks that he's going to be able to follow me around the map. The Morgana tries to do everything she can to set things up for them. And unfortunately, Mr. Obama is too busy walking around doing nothing and actually thinking. So, they start this. I know for a fact that they're doing it, because I saw him place the ward. Instead of immediately running at this, my support, with full ward coverage, and his ultimate up, is not running at the dragon. He is standing there. They are standing there, allowing it to happen. So, first thing I do is I wall him in. He jumps out. But, by the time they've done this, they've already rage quit. Probably because they believe it's too hard to win. Vayne has been mad the entire time. Because even though they were able to get a kill off of middle, and middle was more or less useless to us, they are simply getting crushed by the power that I'm supplying. And so they rage quit the game. Is there anything that I could have done differently to help this Veigar be able to realize how much of a problem he is causing me and the team? No, not really. Because this player started following me around in my camps to try and get last hits in my camps. All I can do is move the game and go next. Which then brings us to today's main course. Often, you're going to hear players retardedly use the phrase, I'm 1v9, I'm 1v5. 1v5 means that you're outnumbered, because a player is actively not playing the game. In this game, our Draven is going to disconnect and rage quit the game, because he doesn't like the fact that I've called him out about him being toxic inside of the lobby chat. Teemo doesn't know exactly how badly he's going to get crushed. But, everything being equal, you open the game just as normal as any game would be opened. Doing everything I can to cross over and get vision for the jungle. As you can see here, already on the transition, the top laners, the mid laners, and the bottom laners don't really know how to cover jungle. This positioning here from the Draven and Poppy is kind of retarded, but there's a world where you could say that it works, simply because in that world where you could say that this works, he has Cleanse Flash versus Varus, who at some point with his ultimate, Chain of Corruption, is going to fire that Chain of Corruption to get a free damage opportunity against Draven if he's ever able to land it, him or Poppy. And with his kit, he can be able to execute and pop them extremely easily so that he can be able to win. Because he also has a Wukong support who's going to use a Cyclone to knock them up and do additional max HP damage over the casting time and duration to be able to give them the opportunity to win. He has Ignite Flash and Barrier Flash, meaning they're going to be very defensive and very hard to fight. But they also are not covering the vision. So, he has no idea that I'm crossing into his top quadrant again, pulling off another invasion, again, because players do not, again, know how to position. Now, of course, because this is Teemo, Teemo has the unique feature, where is he? Teemo has the unique feature that he can be invisible inside of guerrilla warfare, and he can become invisible and only be revealed by nearby enemy turrets. Meaning, without the ability to figure out where Teemo is, he has the ability to permanently be in stealth and never be countered by the fact that he is in stealth. And while he is in brush, he can maintain his invisibility while he is moving. It's because if he remains still for 1.5 seconds without being damaged, he can become invisible until he moves. With this escapes him attack speed, but all this really means is that I have to deal with Toxic Shots, and I have to deal with Blinding Dart. Because of this Blinding Dart duration, going up to 3 seconds, it gives him a lot of time in which he can be able to damage me and be able to get poison off of me. Fortunately, Yorick in jungle does not function the way that Yorick does in lane. So, anything that he'd want to do is not going to work out as much. For this game, we only need to focus on me. So, not knowing where they are, and seeing that my team is not moving and giving vision, I simply choose to elect not to start with the invade. Instead, do my camps. They are able to get a kill on the bottom lane. And we cross over as natural. Because I am who I am, we're able to start with a great lead from jungle, where I am automatically on top of my camps faster, naturally, than Teemo. And we are not only able to get a kill in both lanes, we're able to get a kill in top and in bottom, seemingly with only the use of one summoner, which is Poppy's Ignite. We were then able to get another kill again on the top laner. I'm unable to stop Teemo in this position, but now he is trying to race me to the next grab to stop me. He positions himself in such a way where he can try to block me in. I place him on the wall, and hey, did you know that Poppy stuns a target that she can E into the wall as soon as she stuns into them by using her abilities and spells? Damn, bro, that's real crazy. Why did you put yourself inside of my wall, and why did you choose to stay there in that position? Now you're getting killed. Not only do we cash out the kill onto the Draven, we're able to get that kill onto him, and now he's 3-1. I would think this would be a great game. Would you? Keep watching. You're going to get fucking impressed by how bad this guy's mental is. So, because I was able to do that in that way, we started on this side, so we're going to have to continue on this side. Onto the Gromp. We lose a kill in mid. Still fighting on top of my camps to try and get to my clear. Really bad sequencing from me. I should have not used my E at all in that camp the way that I did. But I pick up more goals here. Path through and try to do what I can to come catch this top laner. He tries to back under the tower. I catch that ass out. Another free kill. Here comes Teemo, acting special. He lets himself get hit by dust, which then allows me to be able to do this. Then he tries to walk back in, gets walled, gets ulted. I honestly had no idea what the fuck he thought was supposed to happen there. I know what Teemo does. Everybody knows what Teemo does. He is probably one of the most traditionally hated champion in the game, simply because he counters champions that use auto attacks. And technically, early in the game, every champion needs their auto attacks. Some champions can't function without their auto attacks. So him walking up to me and a Garen, while I still have wall available, really just means that he wants to die. So, he pops his flash, he gets ulted with Demacian Justice, and the man's just out of the fucking game. But unfortunately, even with this being the case, with us still getting a further lead in bottom, somewhere along this place, somewhere, for some reason, Draven is going to rage quit. I don't know when it happens, but it happens at some point. Cross down the map. Onto the objective. Place vision. Fight Teemo off in some regard. Teemo gets chunked again. And then back into the lanes. Back into the map at some point. It looks to me like there's no reason for us to be losing this in the situation. Draven's been stacked out. He's 5-1 with a 300 gold shutdown. They're zoning them off of the tower. Draven continues to get cash out again. Here comes Zed. He's able to kill the Zed. He does get picked off by the support. Seven, 2-2. Poppy dies because she stayed too long. I get killed by the Zed. They're now pressuring the top side. Teemo picks up the kill on Garen. Mostly because Aurora's not doing anything. And this is the point at which this player chooses to rage quit the game. His lane wasn't griefed. He wasn't pushed out and cut out. Man's collector BF sword. He rage quits the game here. Perhaps he was having connection issues. Legitimate connection issues. But because that player is no longer here, Poppy is not on time to the objective that she should be covering. Because there's no reason for her to be defending this tower. There's nothing here for her to do. She should be covering this map here so that we can have numbers advantage. But unfortunately, she is not. She finally arrives here. But unfortunately, they get killed in a very stupid way. And we're forced to take an E off of it. This is where, even though he was getting crushed, they're now going to be afforded a lot of power and focus to be able to do what they want. But fortunately, because Zed is being pressured by middle, and Teemo is too busy doing whatever he's currently doing on the bottom quadrant of the map, I'm able to rotate the rest of the grumps. Or the rest of the grubs. And thus, I resume farming, because now, all of the weight to carry is on me. Because, since this player is not in the game, 7,000 of our gold value is gone. Let's do some quick maths. Calculator. Calculator, calculator. Calculator, calculator. If the gold delta is 26.3, close it down. The gold delta is 26.3. Let's do that as numbers like this. Subtracted by 25, 700, we would only be behind 600 gold. We need to do this calculation minus the gold of that player. So, 7,000, let's just do 7,000, value of gold is missing. So, 25, 7, minus 700, or 7,000. We are now permanently down 7,000 gold. Meaning, The enemy is actually now ahead of us by that much gold more. So, if the number is 18,700, 26,300 minus, Carl can't do good math, 1870. We are now 706, like we're now 7,600 or 7,600 gold behind. And until this player returns to the game, that is what happens with that gold. The player will return to the game, but you will notice that he's going to continue to disconnect randomly. Again, I don't know if it was because of a storm. I don't know if it was because they were upset and mad that they died in that particular scenario. But after they were in a significant position of a lead, they just chose to stop playing entirely. Who knows? Continuing forward, we'll focus specifically on what I'm doing here. Knowledgeable and aware of the fact that we're in a position where we have to play for an advantage. We're pressured in a position where, because our top laner is still trapped in his lane, and our support is not getting him out of that lane faster, we now have to play at an extreme disadvantage where I'm always going to have people putting vision in my jungle. He reconnects.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Won't you join them?
He dies. He disconnects again.
Dominating.
It is at this point that I assume, so he's mad that he's running it down, so he's going to continue to be useless to us. And recognize that I have to do a lot to carry the game. Simply gap the top laner by walking in such a way where he's not able to fight. He reconnects again. He stands AFK on this fountain. I don't know how I missed that Team Mushroom. I should have ignited that Team Mushroom. The fact that that didn't go off is weird. Send the objective into the tower. I don't know why my manual camera keeps resetting. Put this in a position here to be able to allow my team the ability to fight. Bait them to a fight. Run away from that fight. Accept the fact that because we are permanently down a man, we will never be able to properly fight for objectives unless we are able to win an objective fight. Keep power forming on the map. And I tell them, get vision on the bottom quadrant. Wukong tries to put vision into my top quadrant. He fails to spot me. They get caught. Teemo tries to come through to take my camps. It fails.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Cross back into the top quadrant to be able to fight the top laner again. And slowly and slowly and slowly, we start whittling them down. Get a very big important shutdown off of the Zed, and also kill the Teemo in such a position where they're not able to fight back. Get to my item core and get it online. Release the maiden to start farming topside. We now have to play an intensive split push focused game. Play an extreme game of kite out. Get a double kill. Allow my maiden to shove and push. Do everything I can to reset the lanes so that they can continue shoving. Get out. Get to the objective. We use teleport to secure that dragon. And now it's 2 dragons to 2 dragons. Keep in mind, even though it is 54 to 55, remember any gold value that's on that Draven, both unspent and collectively in total, is the number we're actually behind by. We're always missing a man. This is what it looks like to truly 1v9 carry. Why is it called 1v9 carry? Let's talk about that. 1v9 basically means you take the weight of Atlas, but the whole world, whole team, on your back. You're fighting the enemies, and you're fighting your team's decisions. My team's decisions were not very good here. They were not very good. Not very good at all. Dog shit. Ass cheeks. Booty butt. But I do not let them stop me from doing what I know is possible. Yorick is a champion that only counters Set and Varus and Teemo, but because of how I've chosen to build and how the enemy has chosen to build, they are extremely susceptible to getting their shit pushed in by me. All it takes is a few good initiations and a few good catch kills to enable my Garen to have the power to both find targets and kill them, as well as get on top of targets and ensure that he is able to confirm his DPS against them. Because the sky is the limit. We don't have a backline. We don't have a physical carry. But what we do have is a Garen who has an execute. My goal is now to incentivize this Garen to become our new carry. Since the Draven is missing and his damage is useless, the Poppy needs to become our front line. I have to become a sort of hybrid carry, APC, ADC. The forgetting this champion's name. The Aurora needs to be able to focus all of her DPS into being a chain gun that prevents them being able to fight, because fortunately, she, unlike the Vigar from the last game, did build correctly. She built Rod of Ages, and then she built Leandri's Torment. She now has the mana to be able to supply and to restore her HP and to keep herself alive, as well as building towards the damage focus that allows her to carry and work with the fights as best as she can. Granted, she doesn't have any ability haste, but that's okay. All she needs is the power and the ability to trade, and that's all that matters fighting these guys. Because they're not going to be able to face her damage. They don't have any real MR to speak of. The only person who has MR is Zed's Boots, and that's it. And the Negatron Cloak is being picked up by Varus. Because this is how we have itemized, and because of how I'm playing this game, I am playing an oriented game of stopping and plugging the leaks. That's probably the most important part when you're talking about carrying a team. You need to find out where your weakest points are, and you need to plug the leaks. You plug the leaks and you stop them from being able to fight you. They no longer have the ability to find an in, because there's no in. Whether or not the laner is useless, or whether the team is useless, or even if the jungler or yourself in a situation is useless, whether it's because you don't know what to do, or because you find yourself hard stuck, you play through a lane to win. Now, because the bottom lane was winning, but he's no longer there, that is not a choice. I can't play through the Draven, but I can play through myself, and I can play through my team of what's left. The Poppy, even though I don't agree with her vision, is well enough to know when she should be taking opportunities. So, I have to carry through myself, and I need to carry through the Garen. Aurora is there to make sure that when it comes time to lock them down, that her Between Worlds locks them into the AP Camille ultimate, thus preventing them to being able to get away from us. All of that area of convergence to 3.5 seconds means that they get their shit pushed in, no matter how they try to fight or how they try to leave. Keeping that in mind, the things that actually prevents us from winning this game would be getting killed and fucked over by the damage of Haymaker in its DPS, or getting popped by the Zed and his focus of the combined DPS that he'd be doing with his Death Mark, his Shadow Slash, his Shurikens, and his auto attacks. Keeping all those things in mind, let's see how we handle this game. I make sure to be in a position to catch and fight this set so that he is forced to play the match. Unfortunately, the enemy Wukong is able to beat up and kill my Garen. And I immediately get ran at by 3 people.
Watch them squirm.
But because I'm getting ran at by 3 people, this enables me to have the opportunity to be able to bait the set again to get killed. And now that I have my split push item, which is Hall of Radiance, I now have the ability for my minions to use the spell effect of Immolate and Desolate to shove down the wave. And because they are now able to shove down the wave, that's giving me a little bit more magic resistance, namely against the kind of damage that's going to be coming out from Varus, and the damage that's going to be coming out from Teemo. I am now prepared to carry this game.
Shut down.
I finish that stance, we immediately enter into a fight, and we immediately stomp them. I send my ghouls to go do their job to kick my blue, and then we immediately do the objective, and we take the Baron. The enemy wants to focus and get themselves in a position to fight down for the dragon. I get caught out here because our team was not prepared to fight this, even though I did everything I could to kill them. But we're able to clean this fight through the Garen becoming a monster and secure this dragon. We now have advantage in our favor to be able to work towards closing the game out. Still moving through. My job's not done. My mission will operandi. Find the Teemo, disable them. I've released the bait into the top side, because now we're setting up shoves and pushes. My goal here now, like in every game, is find the side wave, shove the side wave up, and force them into a position where we get advantage. We find a double pick, we find a triple pick, and now we can start pressuring to close out the game. Kill them on the tower, take the in-head, move through, block the wave with the next ghouls, shove the wave forward, block the Teemo out of his jungle, gap the Teemo in his jungle, survive and live because I chose to buy Guardian Angel after having Death Stance in that one situation, because I figured it'd be more important to have the ability to revive, because they'd commit way too much to me, and they did. Take another in-hit, now they're triple gated, heal back up, sustain back up, get back alive, buy a replacement 6 item for my boot, which I chose to go with Dead Man's Plate to give myself move speed, so I could have the extra HP, the extra armor.
Unstoppable.
They're able to kill them in such a way that they can fight in the base. Cap down the Teemo. I get killed by the Varus. But because they are weak, and because the set does not realize that his job is not to be doing what he's doing, he gets the shit pushed in by Garen. And Garen pushes in the shit of the Varus. Between him and Aurora, they secure Dragon Soul. Now, because I'm back on the map, and I have Maiden again, because I have hella ability haste. I'm on the map. I drop them over the wall. They secure my buff, and I secure the camp. Come back through again, taking all of Teemo's shit. And in this situation, if you focus here, you see that my team is going to slowly end the game. I'm going to keep this Teemo from being able to back. I don't care about killing him. I care about the fact that he's not here at this ending fight. Let's slow this down. And as you can see here, as they fight over here, Garen's in the game. And just like that, 4v5. 1. Everything there is dependent on your ability to think and on your ability to outplay. No matter what happens, everything that happened there was in my power. Because even though I can't control the Draven leaving, I can't control the Draven flaming, just like the Kha'Zix in the game before couldn't control the Vayne molding at him, you can control the plays that you make. You are accountable for 100% of the games that are carryable that you do not win with because you chose to not win. That sounds weird, but I'll explain. When you carry, when your job is to carry, you can only win the matches that are available for you to win because you took the time to focus on winning them. The amount of effort that I needed to put in both that match and that match were higher than lower than what I would put into an average game. Obviously. But why is that? The fact of the matter is, I have to put in more effort, not because... Excuse me, Mr. Bottle. You're not supposed to explode. Can't do it anyways. It's not because it takes immense effort in order to carry a team. It all comes down to tempo. Tempo is the number one key facet of what made those games possible. Why is that? What does tempo look like when you're using it? To look at that, we can actually go back to some of these other games that I did not show and show you what tempo looks like. Let's go to this match here. This was ranked, featuring my team, where I was the highest gold income on the team. We had 2 Baron Nashers, 2 Dragons, all of their inhibs, all of their towers. I believe that's Grub. Yeah, that's Grub account. 3 Grubs, and the Rift Scuttler. When it comes down to tempo, there are 3 things that you need to keep in mind. Those 3 things those 3 things. What's this? Open these. Are number 1, timing. Number 2, positioning. And number 3, the most important one, sociopathic levels of bluffing. The reason why tempo is timing, positioning, and sociopathic levels of bluffing is that if you want an objective, if you know that you can win a situation, you need to be able to either bluff that you are weaker than the target that you are fighting, to trick them into trying to kill you so that you can outplay them, or you need to be crazy enough to run at them to figure out if they know that you can't kill them. Because if they don't know that you can't kill them, but they think you can kill them, they're going to panic. They're going to back off. They're going to run away. And they're going to die. Because no matter what the fuck you do, you do not want to be the person who wastes your team's tempo. Because your tempo all comes from the lead that you have. That's what 1v9 carrying looks like. You need to use your tempo to create the opportunities on the map, to create the opportunities, to then provoke opportunities of action from both ally and enemy, to then supply you the opportunity in which you can be able to fight, win, duck, dive, flank, ward, or counter-defend. Everything from ganking a lane because you had an opportunity, to specifically sitting on one particular lane that you're going to try to play for all game long, to burn the summoners off of that player so they do not have them to fight in another situation that they get put into, is the situation of what we call status checking, or stat checks. Tempo and stat checks are some of the most important things to have in lane state, because when you get checkmated in lane, what is the first response that you're going to have? Anybody here? Does anybody happen to know the answer? Want to take a guess? I'll give you 30 seconds. What do you think is the first thing that happens when you get into what I would call the oh shit situation? As in, oh shit, I'm about to die. See if anybody knows the answer. Ding 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 Run is a good answer. Let's revise this based on what we saw from the Vayne in this game. So, let's go find that game first. What happened to this Vayne in her lane? What were they forced to use constantly? Both on the first kill and then again on me hunting her. What did Vayne not have? Anyone know? Anyone want to guess? Yes? No? Maybe so? Your mom's a hoe? The answer is summoners. She did not have her summoners. What are her summoners? Barrier, Flash. Realistically, the summoner that we're caring about here the most is the movement summoner. Flash and Ghost. When you get checkmated in lane, when you get gapped, when you're dying, when you're in a situation where you think to yourself, oh shit, I'm going to die, you're gonna run away. Yes. And when you run away, because Fatal was correct, I was looking to see if he was going to say summoner. He didn't say summoner. What you're going to do? Oh shit, I'm getting checkmated. I need to dodge the next ability. They're going to flash away from it. They're going to ghost away from the situation. Sometimes if they have only aggressive summoners, they might barrier the situation. They might heal the situation. They might even ignite on the situation and try to fight to the death, saying, ha! You thought I was going to die, but it's actually you! They panic. From this, tempo can be established. Sometimes, tempo looks like, in order to be able to win a fight and kill an laner opponent, you need to bait them into a situation, in a scenario, where you're waiting for your summoners or your spells to come off cooldown. And you're using Conqueror. Well, Ignite counts as a stack of Conqueror for the purposes of keeping up the spell. You get this 12 stacks of Conqueror, that's a lot of AD that you got in your kit. And with that AD, you can clap out that laner. Because now, it's basically giving you adaptive stats that you wouldn't have had you not fought them. So, keep stacks up. Use Ignite and maybe even Flash to get on top of them, or Ghost to get on top of them. And with that, dead man. Use that opportunity, because you're using Flash and Ignite, and they might have Flash and TP. When they TP in that lane, you've already shoved the lane out, and you've already left. Because what happened to the Veigar in this game? He overstayed after using his spells, and in many cases, his summoners, to get an advantage to stick the kill onto the enemy mid laner. But he did not back in the situations where he had the ability to outplay her Ignite by simply making her stay in lane where she had no advantage to fight anymore. Because that's the advantage of having tempo like that. If you take... It's all good. It's all good, Fatal. If you take Ignite into a lane, and I take Teleport into a lane, your goal is to kill me before I use my Teleport, so that you force my sum, so that you have a lead to work off of. My goal is to use my Teleport to reset the lane state, so if you use all your abilities to try and kill me, you are gambling in my face. You're saying to me, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to use this Ignite and my spells to kill you. And you say, actually, hold that thought. Recall, Teleport. Alright, what was that shit you was on? Oh, it looks like you're missing all your HP. Damn, that's crazy. I'm just going to poke you out of the lane now and freeze it permanently. And you can't walk up, because you're going to have to find a way to get a reset. This is usually what causes Yorick in lane to have problems. But remember, we're playing Yorick from the jungle. And this concept can apply to any type of jungler. But in this particular case, the tempo of that for a laner who has Teleport means they teleport back to the lane, and they say, "Excuse me, Mr. Jungler, I've got a 35% health target here to come kill." And I look over and I'm like, "Oh wait, a word? Do they have summoners?" "No, they don't. They don't have flash and they don't have ignite." Well, that's all you had to say! And because I see the opportunity, I can take the opportunity and punish them. This is effectively what happened to Vigar in this game. He did not reset on time. He tried to hold his teleport for reasons that made no fucking sense, even for the purposes of escaping. And instead of resetting on time, and then failing the wave state management, and then failing to fucking know when it was time to leave, even if it put the wave into a bad state for it to bounce back for him, he fed and gave up gold he did not have to give up, because he was more focused on trying to do something outside of what his champion was designed for, than doing what his champion was designed for. And for all these factors, it put him in a position where they had no ability to be able to fight back, and to be able to survive or win. Period. Because they just don't know what the fuck to do. They don't know what they're doing, and they do not know how to do it, and they're not interested in trying to learn that. Same things happened with the tempo that then disappeared inside of that match for the Draven. Draven had no reason to rage quit this game. Just because he died after reconnecting should have been an actual connectivity issue. Doesn't matter. He was a significant function of this team. All of that 11,428 gold went unused after the point where he was level 7 into level 9. We all ended that game with scores more positive than his, where the Poppy had to outperform for both players of the bottom lane, because the tempo that we needed to have provided to us needed to be provided by the jungler, which was me, to be able to give ourselves the opportunities to then split push them to death, because we had 2 split pushers, myself and Garen, and then an APC control mage in the form of Aurora. Granted, she's more of a battle mage considering how her spells work, but for all intents and purposes, a battle mage with a arena-typed ultimate to lock them in, and a team-fighting champion like Poppy to be able to do high levels of anti-tank damage to deal with their team's frontline. Despite all of their efforts, they got gapped 4v5 by a 1v9 jungler carry because they didn't have the ability to fight back. And it was all based on that tempo. Now, in all of these things that I showed here, with the demonstration of my points, no matter how hard they could have tried, they would not have been able to win, simply because my tempo was better than Teemo's. I not only was killing him on timer, I was also taking it on timer. What does that mean? On timer basically means every single time that I had an opportunity to take something, every time I had an opportunity to take something, I had first move and first vision. On that dragon that we lost, because our bottom lane did not move into position to be able to cover the option of the 3 people doing the objective clearly in our face, the enemy in that situation had the better tempo. Why? The bottom lane was returning to the lane, and they did not play with a focus of immediately getting into that fight to create an opportunity for me to be able to, in trade for the objective, wipe the enemy team and create tempo towards the next objective. Because, as I said in the first part of the course, tempo, or rather, objectives and neutrals win the game by just simply playing for the advantages that we can create. This is created by making that tempo. And by creating tempo, by being on timer, you're able to play ahead of the team. If you're first there, and you're able to place the vision first, you have control of the vision of the area, obviously. And when you're first there, and you lie in wait for someone to come around the corner so that you can be able to bushwhack them, they don't have the ability to fight back. Multiple times in that game, Teemo tried to fight me, and he was just simply getting outmanned and outgunned because he could not fight all of my minions and all of my maidens and all their things at once. He needed to run for his fucking life. And running for his fucking life didn't matter, because once I had him pushed out, he had to walk back in to reestablish control. And if he's walking into Yorick, he's walking into a wall. And ding, 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 here comes the Garen on the on the spin blitz train to 5,000. All these things and more are what create the opportunities for a jungler to be able to win. It's also the same shit that you need to use for laners. It just so happens to be that not many laners actually understand or focus and put a lot of focus into learning how to use tempo like this. Because very often, they don't actually like using their tempo. They like disrespecting tempo. They like being lazy. And their laziness is usually what loses them the opportunities to make these wins. So, having talked about it, let's now look at some of these matches and see how I apply tempo correctly. Let's go to this game and demonstrate. Let's look at the actual graphs of this game before we do so, however. Obviously, there was a point in the match where our greatest deficit was being behind by nearly 4,000. But then, you can see, we rocket and gradiate ourselves to a significant lead by over 15k towards the end. What caused this? I wonder why. Let's find out. Clearly, I didn't do the most damage to champions. That was instead done by our mid laner. But, in terms of the efficiency of what my runes did, I activated Phase Rush a lot. I made use of Nimbus Cloak a lot. I got seconds of my damage refunded by Transcendence. I got 883 extra bonus damage from my Scorch. I gained over 726 gold from Cashback. And I spent at least 79 seconds hasted by approach velocity. Meaning I was spending a lot of time fighting them actively and making use of my Phase Rush to get on top of them and kill them. So let's see how this worked out. Same pings, as always and usual. The enemies wanted to do a hard invade into my jungle. I ended up getting killed for this, because my bottom lane did not enter in first, and now they're camping in my quadrant, hoping to kill me, again. I instead used the opportunity here, and crossed immediately into his top side. For reasons that make no sense, the back lane, like the back line, as well as the top lane, come through here to try to fight me. For reasons I don't understand. And she gets herself killed. He recognizes this and uses this opportunity to cross into my bottom quadrant. So now we're handshaking objectives. He's taking my camps, I'm taking his. He gets pushed out, and he gets killed here. So it didn't work out to him all the way that he wanted. 34 to 35. 32 to 35. Because of the tempo provided to me by my mid laner responding, I'm able to now have a lead against this Udyr. Granted, he gets to have his first back and he buys double pinks as well as a book, an amplifying tome. Whereas all I have is still my jungler pet, but I am a farmer, and I just farm. I need to secure the rest of my neutrals before he has an opportunity to do anything. So, because I took his camps the way that I did, I'm able to cross back into the top side. And based on that tempo, even though they're able to kill him, I'm able to keep her in lane here. He does not fight me here. And the enemy tries to use tempo again to try and invade him again in middle. Unfortunately, I don't get supported here, so he's able to use his kit to survive long enough to be able to take two grubs in front of me, because Udyr is not balanced. But by using this tempo, we put this focus to be able to put pressure onto the lanes to give ourselves opportunities to survive and win. We're able to stick the kill against the Garen. Because of this tempo and the response that I've given, I showed them that I was top quadrant. So, he was able to get roughly 2 of the grubs and the first dragon. But, even with this lead, it doesn't mean anything, because I'm still ahead of him on farming. Because he's putting more focus on ganking. So, I simply do what I need to do. Farm. Even with this lead that's being generated by the mid lanes, both lead from my mid laner and the Anivia, we use this pressure to continue playing for the farm. Take all of his quadrants, take all of his camps. Once again, defending my camps and pushing him out. He's not able to take my camps again, which means he is now 15 to 20 on the Gus Walker lead. He has 5 camps behind me. I haven't even backed yet. I'm sitting on gold. I could be resetting, but I only need to farm because all I have to do is get the gold and items to be strong, to become stronger than him, and counter him when it comes time to. I'm now back here. I pick up my components, working towards my item. That's what he's done. He's shown himself, and he's gotten himself killed. Which now means I have tempo to take this objective. Before, he had bottom lane tempo, because they were pushing all this power and focus towards the bottom lane. Because of the middle, and because of the lead that they currently have, there's a shutdown over her head that he keeps trying to push and force by killing. Fortunately, even though he doesn't die for it, they end up pushing the mid laner out because the bottom lane wants to take over mid. This really is a bad rotation because the wave hasn't really fallen yet and they're giving up a free tower. But, you know, all things being equal, they do what they can. I believe he walks in there to smite that. And then I shove the wave in to stop Garen from freezing it. And I continue taking the rest of his camps in his top quadrant. With that tempo, we then get the ability to force out Garen's summoner. He no longer has flash. With this tempo, they then try to force middle. And then here comes the jungler. Got him up, stop him from being able to kill my Camille. And now, we use all this power and pressure to slowly whittle down this Garen and get him into a position where we can kill him. Because who's coming to save him? Not the mid laner, tell you that much. With this tempo, they of course use this to take Dragon. 23.7 to 26.5. But look at the match that is being made between the junglers. 94 to 77, 1-1-3 versus 0-6-3. It does not matter that they've taken 2 dragons. I'm ahead of him by almost 1,000 gold because I'm farming better than he is. He's playing bottom focused, I'm playing top focused. That's what you do. This is called cross-map play. There's no reason why a jungler or a laner, if you see somebody walking across the map, making a play on one side, you should be doing nothing in the middle or on the opposite side of the map. If they play bottom quadrant, you play top quadrant. If you can counter gank them in the bottom quadrant, prepare for the counter gank and play ahead. Knowing that this is almost going to be gone and they're going to start making plays on the middle, I need to secure my camps as quickly as possible before I get invaded. Because here comes Anivia to fuck with me on my camps. And then we kill her. And then we take the team fight. And we wipe the shutdown off of this molder. I continue farming. And now it's time for me to put this push to use. Let's get a tower. Oh, look at that. Here he is. And there he goes. Man, that's crazy. All that power that you got from Leandri's Torment using your crap Phoenix. That's crazy. What does that mean to me? You have no armor. Let's play it back. He walks up to the wave. He gets hit by them. He gets trapped. He gets gated. He keeps hitting the minions. He gets popped. Damn, that's so crazy, bro. Often, you're going to be seeing this from laners that are, or from junglers that believe that by picking this that they're invincible. They are not. Because I've killed the jungler, we now have initiative to be able to take the Herald. Main reason why I ping this is because this champion has the ability to smite feast off of things. And because of this, we actually have a second smite in the game, which gives us a lot more objective control than we normally would have. Let's fight this. They're not really playing for the opportunity to push for this. That's fine, though. All I need to do is my job. What's my job? Beat on this tower. And it comes back again. Here comes the support. Here comes his team. Waste their ultimate. Run away. Still running away. We take Rift Herald. Tempo. Afforded by what? Baiting. Why? Because we used the core fundamental concepts. What were the core fundamental concepts? Let's go over them again. Timing, positioning, sociopathic levels of bluffing. Back to clearing again. They're now making pressure on our bottom tier 2. Team rotates. I'm farming and fighting. I'm catching the wave top side. I'm now fighting an Anivia who's trying to do everything possible to continue stalking me. I bait out my spells. I force her to sit in a position to rotate and defend. I go into their top side. Because I shoved the tempo of this wave, Anivia has to receive this wave and stop me from shoving. Because they're trying to play for this dragon, and I'm in the top quadrant, they will use this opportunity to try and force for the dragon. But I will use this pressure to continue taking these camps. And then find her. They play for the objective. I play for my objective. While they might get that Chem Dragon, I don't care. I want pressure on this tower. And then I want your camps. Because by doing this, I draw them to the top side. Which now means we have the opportunity to fight them in the top side with express power. My mid laner kills the jungler again. They unfortunately use their summons to kill my mid laner. I continue power farming. I send the maiden top side to go shove that tower because they want to make plays for other things. So I afford myself time and pressure, and I stall for a fight. Look at how he comes here to meet the maiden and stop it from shoving. But look what's happening in middle lane. He has chosen to not help his team, to try and stop my thing from pushing. And because he's chosen to do so, we win this team fight. And now we have tempo to take Baron if we wanted to. I would prefer shoving up the waves, as did my backline. From quickly. Get the items necessary for me to carry. Start sweeping vision. And immediately start it. Because where's their team? Fighting ours in mid. And they're losing. And where is he? Doing his camps while we take the objective in their face. Tempo! And then he's dead again. 4-1-4. 2-10-7. 3 dragons, but at least 4 grubs. And now Baron Nashor. 49.2 to 46.5. Man's getting gapped. Back to the tempo again. Put pressure on this top side. Put her at her tower line. Get her out the tower. Put damage and focus into the tower. Even though I killed her, and then I died and trade for it, it is okay. Because I'm forcing them to defend and not fight my team in mid. Which then gives my split pusher, top, time to shove. Now she's able to take this tower. At least she was able to get the gold for herself. And they're able to kill at least 2 people for that. So, making it a 2-for-1. We now have the objective focus to be able to have tempo to control the bottom quadrant, because this would be their soul point. My backline is able to use her Shattered Arm Guard to give herself the ability to get Hourglass. And now we're in position to block out this dragon. Find the support. Gap the support. They no longer have vision to fight it. First dragon is ours. Shove up the lane. Into his jungle again. Taking his camps again. Setting up for the tower again. Getting away from them. And then giving opportunity for my fucking Camille to become a menace. And then, because we have tempo, as we just killed 3, we finally take that tower. And this is 700 gold going directly into the mouth of my fucking, of my Kai'Sa. Sucking all up. And I released Maiden before I did that. So now, they're going to use Maiden to shove this tower. And they still have the ability to shove because they at least have 2 that will be dead for an additional 18 to 22 seconds. Which means they have about 20 seconds of push power. Even though the APC for wave clear is coming back alive. They get it in time. My ghouls start accruing. They get a team fight off. They're able to extract themselves and leave. We lose 3, they lose 2. But we come out with a tower and half damage on the objective. I back. I buy more items. We start solidifying the split push. I answer the split push measure from the Garen. I just map out the Garen and chase where he is. I get ahead of the push. I allow my ghouls to do their job, to shove up. I enter into the back of the fight. I wall people off. We kill 3. Because my ghouls continue to shove, they will now start focusing on killing this wave. And then getting this wave into the tower. And we will slowly kill. And then we'll take an inhib turret. Or nexus turret. We'll take another inhib. And oh, what's this? My maiden was released to bottom. We'll go ahead and take another inhib tower. They put all their focus into blocking this. But, guess where I am? And then, because you guys are still there, guess where my team is? And just like that, taking both objectives within literal seconds of each other. Although technically minutes. Tempo. Tempo. It's like the slow beating of a drum. Or a quick beating of a drum. And now, we begin to close out the game. Enter into the top side quadrant. Take his camps away again. Find their split pusher. Get away from him, lock him down. The main goal here is to stop him from pushing back the wave. And to establish where they are not, so we can establish where they are. His entire team is wiped. So by finding the 5th man, I stop him from being able to defend. He wants to come to kill my backline. He does not succeed. He gets killed. He gets flamed by his team, by his smolder pinging his ultimate. And we end the game. Tempo. 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 All of that made possible by knowing what I need to play for and playing around that win condition. In that game, I could play around my mid, I could play around my top, I could play around my bottom. But realistically, all I actually had to do was orbit and satellite and create opportunities for them. And then I allow my team to capitalize. All I gotta do is live. All I gotta do is live. Because that's all Yorick has to do. I don't gotta do all the damage. I can release the main to the wave. Main shove in the wave. They gotta still do with her. And while they're dealing with her, I'm back in my jungle. Scaling. Living. Chilling. All this and more is what Tempo provides. Knowing how to match it, knowing how to create it, getting on top of it, This is what allows you to carry those situations where you feel like your team or someone in your team is useless. Now let's look at one of these flawless games, shall we? Here we have a match game against a Diana with a generally okay-ish team top. Give me 1 second, I need to go take care of the door.
Hi. Glad you're doing better.
10. But here we have a match where we should see a similar level of focus. We take the majority of their towers, we take their Ninhips, we take a Baron, we take 3 dragons, we take 3 grubs, and we take the Herald. So let's see how we developed here. Here on the start of the Nation, same pings before. They try to go for an invade. I tell them no. I need you to find Diana. I'm able to find Diana. I found their top laner. So, in this game, the enemies finally have covered the camps correctly. My team is covering my entrances. Granted, my top laner is non-existent, but I forced out the ward, I'm assuming here, from Ornn. And Diana, responding to this, goes from her bottom quadrant to her top quadrant, specifically to start at her wolves. Because I have chosen to do this, I now have a general idea of where she is, because guess what we have on her? Red, a ward. Because of this ward here, we can tell whether or not she's going to cross from one place to another. Because I'm starting in my bottom quadrant, and she's starting in her top quadrant. We're going to be mirroring clears. She's going to go from her top to her bottom, and I'm going to go from my bottom to my top. So we are now playing on opposite sides of the map, where I'm putting my focus towards trying to kill this person, and she's going to put her focus towards trying to kill these two. Start off with clear. Because there is a ward on my camp, we can see where she is, but my top laner is able to get vision and a lead on the other target, but he still dies anyways, but that's okay and fine. We continue to do our clear. She goes for the crab, I go for my crab. I then try to find Ornn, put some damage on Ornn. My top laner is not playing the game because he's sitting at his tower line. Continue my clear. Nothing left for me to do because there's no opportunities. Go back to my camps, buy my items, get back on the map. Because of the opportunities of how we started, we basically have an equal clear. Action is begging for me to help him in middle for reasons I do not understand, because there's no opportunity that I can actually create here. But guess what Diana's done? Show topside. What does that mean I get to do? Go to Dragon. And in response, she goes to Grubs. This is correct. She has to assume that because she's shown on the top quadrant to go kill the top laner, the same way that she did here again, that she's going to continue to consistently play to help this Ornn, to give him a lead so that he can be safe from getting killed and gapped by the Grasp Tryndamere. Fact of the matter is, Tryndamere can absolutely run away with the game, but he still needs to scale to the point he needs to get to. Unfortunately, it appears that he's trying to go for boots first instead of going for Tiamat. For whatever reason. Be that as it may, she takes the first round of Grubs, I take the first Dragon. Because there's no way that this lane has the ability to have the tempo to move. Because they have not shoved and they have not pushed. And even though she's missing, they cannot cross over to do anything about it. All they can do is ward. Her crossing up up across the line in a way that they shouldn't. But I know that she's still in my top quadrant, so I'm going to her quadrant. I'm going to take her camps the same way she's taking mine. I exit here. I come behind the mid laner. Kill the mid laner. Go into my bottom quadrant. Clear my bottom quadrant. Continue playing, continue moving. Because it misses, I know that it's gone. She gets caught inside my lane. I'm able to walk her ass down. She has to flash. Kill the mid laner. Now we have tempo to come here and move this. Go clearing again. Because they're spending a lot of their time focusing on this, she now has to go do something to sack the bottom lane, try and set them behind and kill them. She successfully gets 2. She's now 4-1-0, and I'm 2-1-0. She's back in my jungle, but because she's in my jungle taking my camps, I'm able to take her ups, walk immediately into hers, take both. And because she's able to do that, we're in a situation now where we can make a play to the top side. Because she's going to go for the dragon. We're 1-1 on dragons. They get Fire Drake. We get Mountain Drake. We come here for the tower. Kill this man. And I free my laner to go do his job. Fortunately, he does end up picking up the correct item. He does buy his Tiamat. He just decided to get Berserker Greaves first. I enter into my jungle. I power farm my jungle. Back out on the map. Absorb and catch the waves to clear. Back up to the top side, catch the jungler, the top laner out again, kill him again. We were able to spot the Diana in the jungle, and she gets chased out the jungle. And because my mid and my top are keeping her out, guess what I get to do? She's still getting chased while they use this opportunity. Cross over, go into her camps, steal her shit. They shut her down, so now she's losing her camps, she's losing her life, she's given up her shutdown. She is getting tempoed. Come through here, guard the wave, place this on top of the tower, smash the tower, run past here, put the damage on the tower, kill the bottom lane, take the gold from the tower, completely open up the bottom lane for play. Take the crab, set up so that we can be able to do the dragon. Take my camp so I can generate goals. Putting a lot of focus to be able to control the space. Walk over. Get ghouls again. Pull the Drake. Do the Drake. And then, because I've released the Maiden here, Maiden's release allows us to have the pressure to have no one here. Now I pick up the Hex Tech. Going back again. Back across the map. Back to my camps again. She's on her bottom quadrant. I'm in my top quadrant. Or rather, we're in our equal top quadrants. I clear my camps. She clears hers. She backs. She buys an item. I come to check her shit. I push the lane back up. I get tempo. I bait 2 over to the top side. I then control the top side by myself so my team can be able to play towards the middle. And every time, just constantly forcing him into a situation he doesn't want to be in. And then we take the top turret as well. Walk this into the mid. Gate them back. Because we have first initiative and first move with how we're moving around the map. My top lane split pusher is able to split push and do his job. He's 8-3. I'm 2-0-6. Mid lane is 3-3-1. Bottom lane is 4-3-1 and 4-3-4. But look at the bottom lane in comparison. 0-6-2. 8-2-0. 1-4-2. 2-6-1. 1-3-5. They are getting pushed out because they don't have the ability to defend anything. 36.9 to 44.4. They are losing in objectives, not because they're not strong from the jungle, but because the jungler is putting all of her focus in too many places at once. She doesn't have a carry condition. She can't win because she can't chase me and the team. And we never give her an opportunity to because we make cross-map plays, because we use our tempo. So, even if they can see me on this vision that we didn't clear, they can't defend anything. They have a base to defend. So, take everything off the map, give them no reason to fight, and then take the vision, clear the vision, take my own camps, continue getting strong so that we can be able to fight them when the opportunity arrives. Back, reset, buy my items, back out on the map. Next objective is coming back up. The dragon is returning. Take it on spawn. Tempo. My team is already chasing them down and hunting them down, killing them in the top quadrant. And because one person died, we're able to revive him and bring him back to the fight. We're 5 men back on the map. Because I'm down here, to go ahead and drop my kids off at the pool. And then we cross over. I take her camps again. Cross over. Join this fight. Bring that man back again. Take the objective. Now we have 3 dragons to 1 dragon. We're significantly ahead, and we've gotten the Baron. Use that gold lead to give ourselves an opportunity. Unfortunately, they've hiccuped the objective from the bottom tower, but it don't matter because the man died for it. We also killed their back line as well. Pushing back through again, closing out the game, bringing it towards the end. We've taken in hit. I'm still power farming her jungle in her camps to get my items online. I send my maiden down top lane. I then warp immediately into the bottom quadrant using the Hex Gate. Start setting the line of attrition. You guys are not allowed to walk past this point. This is my jungle. You try to walk into my jungle, I'm going to push you out of the jungle. They're using all these spells to try and fight and defend. But I'm finding my way to find your top laner. Now I'm going to find this tower. Back it in. While they're spending all this time here, guess what that gives us here? Tempo. Ain't gotta kill you. Just gotta occupy you. Quite literally the case example of, I don't have to kill you. I just need you to look away for a half a second. That's how you win these matches. When you either are struggling to be able to find a win, or the enemy is just stonewalling you at every opportunity. If your team is playing stupid, if they're playing dumb, if they're acting like they have to live in the middle lane, you take your pick, you take it to the side lane, and you become a laner. Push it in, shove it down. That's what Yorick is masterful of. Because every single time you have a top laner or sit pusher on your team that refuses to play the game, that believes that their job is to sit in the middle lane and do nothing, send your kids down the lane. Send your wife down the lane. And the maiden will provide. That is all I have for this particular part of the lesson plan. Before I end, is there any comments, questions, or concerns that any people in the audience would like to ask before I leave? I have to do another one of these streams for the First Descendant, and it is immediately after this one. Give everybody about a minute. They might have burning questions that they are thinking of. This is going to be the nastiest oats bar in existence. Yeah. Yeah. Any questions? Any questions whatsoever? Yes, no, maybe so. Appears not. If that be the case, my name is Carl. This has been the second portion of the Weakside William Masterclass of your jungle. And I will see you all again Same Carl time. Same Carl channel.